This building was designed to serve students. Every piece of it that we looked at, it was all designed about making their time here beneficial to enhance their learning.
I think it's really going to bring together some of those other health sciences, and I think that's how we advance the healthcare system, is collaborating on that knowledge acquisition and knowledge dissemination.
It just gives so much more opportunity and variety, both depth as well as breadth to our student learning. And then this is such a beautiful space, right? The nature, I think we've been able to just capitalize on the beauty of Kamloops and TRU campus. That is also an amazing learning environment. It's an amazing healing environment. And healthcare is tough.
How amazing is this that students can practice a skill in a lab where it's actually real, like Super Tori here, and then they actually go out and practice that same skill.
It gives them an opportunity to visualize what home support is like. It can be hard to describe what they might encounter.
It's just nice to practice in the environment before you just jump into something that you've never done before.
When the students get the best training, the best education, then they're going to take care of their patients fully. And we at TB Vets totally support that.
Healthcare and education have always been two of the pillars of the foundation. So this is a natural fit for us.
So happy to be able to see that Kamloops can provide this kind of facility and education for students that are looking to get into this program.
Our role in healthcare is really about preparing people of knowledge for the future.
And I hope it creates a lot of super strong nurses that I get to work with in the future, so that'd be great.
It's going to help us graduate nurses who are, really great clinicians, but it's also going to help us think about research and how we can strengthen research and provide the space for more conversations, more collaborations.
Because we are on the crest of a wave here. We have done something here that nobody else has done, and I'm excited to see us take off, to jump on that surfboard and just go.
Our students, staff, and faculty are the heart of Thompson Rivers University. You are our community, the people who fill our study spaces, hallways, classrooms, and labs. And we're committed to bringing you back together safely this fall. As we return to campus this September, things will look and feel somewhat different. Where there was once a bustle of activity, there will now be directional signs, guiding foot traffic and supporting physical distancing of the reduced on-campus community. You'll see posters around campus highlighting instructions for proper cleaning and hygiene. And while classmates and employees will be further apart and plexi shields may create a physical barrier between people, the faces looking back will smile, because a true community is resilient and committed to supporting one another in health and in the achievement of learning and teaching goals. While the days and weeks ahead are unlike anything we've experienced, we do have guidance. We're following the direction of the Provincial Public Health Officer and the Ministry of Advanced Education, Skills and Training Go Forward guidelines for post-secondary institutions to reduce the risk of COVID-19 on campus and within our community. With government direction, we welcome you back to our adapted campus where spaces and services have been altered because your health and safety is our highest priority. We are stepping up to keep your safety our number one focus. The Office of Safety and Emergency Management has developed safety plans for classrooms, labs, and common spaces to help reduce the spread of COVID-19 on campus. But this goal of health and well-being is shared, and we must each do our part as we return to campus. Everyone coming to campus for work, classes, or athletics must complete 3 mandatory training courses before arriving. These courses will only take 2 to 3 hours of your time and are available on Moodle. They include exposure control awareness, personal protective equipment training, and WMIS training. Everyone, including visitors, will also need to self-assess daily before arriving on campus, and can do so through bc.thrive.health. Anyone who notices symptoms related to COVID or have been out of Canada within the previous 14 days must stay at home. When you do arrive on campus, you'll notice some buildings and classrooms are closed or rearranged to create greater spacing to support physical distancing measures. And as you walk through our halls, enter buildings, classrooms, and offices, you'll notice enhanced cleaning measures, such as more hand sanitizer stations, surface wipes, and sanitizing supplies in shared spaces, such as labs for students and shared kitchens for staff, as well as frequent cleaning in high-traffic areas. Our cleaning protocol follows recommendations from the BC Centre for Disease Control and will only be using Health Canada-approved disinfectants. Ventilation, airflow, and filtering are also being increased with efforts like frequent filter changes and air flushing to ensure new and fresh air in high occupancy spaces. Students may also need to sign in and out of certain rooms and areas in case we need to follow up with them for contact tracing. Signage on hand hygiene practices and traffic flow will be strategically posted across campus as a friendly reminder to staff, faculty, and students and guests that safe physical distancing and shared health depends on each of us. So, things will look different, but it's our hope that amidst this new and ever-changing normal, together we'll stop the spread of COVID-19, not our collaboration in learning. As things continue to change with restrictions and guidelines evolving, our COVID website is the best place for up-to-date information for students, faculty, and staff. TRU is a place of higher learning, and so going forward, we'll continue to do what we do best: learn together, grow together, safely.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this second town hall for the January 2021 intake with Thompson Rivers University. My name is Thomas, and I will be your host for today. We got an exciting lineup for you with lots of good information. So thank you for tuning in. We know this is a tricky time for everybody, and we really appreciate that you take the time to sit down with us and just get the most up-to-date information on what's going on. We basically have three sections today. We will go through an update, what has happened since our last town hall. We will talk a little bit about the virtual learning success workshop, and then we'll open it up to Q&A so everybody can take part and post your questions. I'll let you know once we open that up, and please do post whatever questions you may have. We have some amazing panelists on hand today, so we're excited to see all of you. First, I will invite my colleague, Rianne Rickett, to give you the most recent update here on the COVID situation and the return to campus.
Hi everyone, thanks for joining us today. I hope you're all well. I have a short presentation today with some new information regarding travel and a few reminders to help you prepare for your winter registration. As you know, most programs will be delivered virtually this winter. Only a small number of courses will be delivered in person and on campus with safety protocols in place. Winter will be the third semester of virtual delivery at TRU, and our faculty and support teams have been working to continuously improve the experience for students. Even though classes will be delivered virtually, the Government of Canada has recently announced that international students with valid study permits will be allowed to travel to Canada to begin their studies. In order to be registered for the winter semester, you must have a valid study permit or an approval in principle. So we need you to make sure that you let us know when your study permit application has been approved. We've created a form to help you easily update us. Please save the link at the bottom of the screen and upload your approval document when you receive it. Your course planning and registration will be prioritized by your study permit or AIP status. Winter registration has begun and classes are starting to fill. Before you can register, you must have a final acceptance letter to TRU, proof of your English proficiency, and a valid study permit or AIP. Once we receive your study permit or AIP confirmation, TRU's academic advising and admissions teams will start to work on a course plan that best works for you. Time zones will be considered wherever possible. In many cases, your courses will be planned and registered automatically. You will be able to find your schedule and registered course list by checking your MyTRU account. Some programs, including most master's and some postgrad programs, require self-planning and registration. In these cases, your program advisor will guide you through the process, so make sure that you watch your email for registration communications from your advisors. As I mentioned earlier, TRU international students will be allowed to travel to Canada, according to the most recent IRCC announcement from October 20th. In order to be eligible to travel, students must be accepted to a designated learning institution with a quarantine plan that is approved by the province of British Columbia. I am happy to confirm that TRU is currently on the list of approved institutions. Students also need to have a valid study permit approval. Approvals in principle will not be enough to have your travel plans approved. I know this might be exciting and also quite frustrating for many of you who are still waiting for the visa centers to open in your country. But we just want you to know that when you do receive your study permit, we are ready to help you with your travel plans. This announcement does not change the virtual delivery format for the January 2021 intake, so you will still be able to participate in virtual studies safely from your home country. For students who have been able to confirm their study permits and do plan to travel, you will also join classes virtually from within Canada. If you are planning to travel to TRU, please do not make any travel plans until you talk to us. You can indicate your plan to travel through the same form as your visa confirmation and meet virtually with an ISA at tru.ca/meet. Your ISA will help you to prepare your travel and your mandatory 14-day quarantine plans. The winter semester is only 2 months away, and there are quite a few important deadlines and events to be aware of. These dates are listed on the screen, and you will also receive them by email from your ISA. If you have not yet paid your deposit and received your final letter of acceptance, you have until November 15th to submit your payment. We do recommend that you submit payment as soon as possible to secure your seat and ensure that you can submit your visa application without delays. We will be offering 2 sessions of our mandatory virtual learning success workshop, which you will hear more about after my presentation. We realize that some testing centers are still closed. However, due to the pandemic, we are not able to deliver our English placement test, so we will need you to submit proof of your English proficiency before you can be registered for courses. We have set a deadline of December 31st for both English testing scores and visa confirmations to be submitted, but we highly recommend that you submit both as soon as possible to ensure that your required classes and preferred times are still available. We are currently accepting Duolingo for admission purposes to our undergraduate programs, but for master's programs like MBA, we will require an IELTS or a TOEFL score. For those of you who are joining classes on campus or planning to travel prior to the start of the semester, we ask that you arrive between November 24th and December 9th. This will give you time to complete your mandatory quarantine period prior to the start of classes. If you are not able to arrive during these dates, we recommend that you plan to arrive in early January. And whether you plan to be on campus, in Canada, or at home, please plan to join the International Student Orientation virtually from December 14th to 16th and be ready to start your classes on January the 6th. So just to summarize and remind you of your next steps, if you haven't already, please follow the steps outlined in your conditional letter of acceptance to receive a final letter of acceptance for winter as soon as possible, and this will include paying your first semester deposit. If you have received your final letter of acceptance, make sure you submit your study permit application online as soon as possible. Even if your visa centers are currently closed, you can still submit your application online to get in the queue and avoid processing delays when they do open. And finally, let us know as soon as you receive your visa so that we can get you registered. And if you do plan to travel to Canada, remember to talk to an ISA in advance to help plan your travel. That's all I have for you today. Good luck with your plans and take care.
Paid attention there. Obviously, that was a ton of vital information for everybody. Now I would like to invite you to take part in our virtual learning success workshop introduction here. We will have Marissa Krenzler joining us to talk a little bit about how this is going to work. Marissa?
Hi, everybody. Thanks so much, Thomas. So my name is Marissa. I am the supervisor of the International Training Center at TRU World, and we are hosting the second offering of our Virtual Learning Success Workshop. We offered this in the summertime for our fall semester, and we're offering it again this fall for the winter. So this is a free workshop to prepare you for learning how to study online. So we are going to be doing things like focusing on how to use Moodle, which is the online learning platform that you will be using in most of your classes. So rather than you taking the time to learn it while you're doing your comfortable and when you go in to submit that assignment. We are hosting live sessions of that, but there will be recordings that you can watch later. We will be recording all of the sessions. So if the times don't work for you, then you can go back and watch the recordings. There are two options for you to attend the sessions. They are mandatory, so whether you watch the recordings or you attend one of the live sessions, we strongly recommend that you do so. The first one will be from November 23rd to 26th. They start at 8 a.m. Pacific time, and then the second one will be November 30th to December 3rd, which will start at 5 p.m. Pacific time. So please remember to convert to your time zone if you are attending the live sessions. You will receive registration and enrollment information to your email on November 16th. If you don't receive anything by November 18th, please email us and we will send you that information. But it's very important that if you have that important information. Here is a sample schedule of what it will look like. Both sessions are the same, so you only have to attend one. That's a really important thing to know. You don't have to attend both sessions. We're going to be covering the same information on both weeks. So you can see we've got lots of good information in here. We're going to be talking about how to use Moodle, setting up a workspace while studying virtually, so talking about what it's like to study from home, how to communicate online with your instructors or your classmates. We're going to be talking about time management and study skills. You're going to hear from some TRU faculty members so that they can talk to you about what their classes will look like and what they expect of you as an online student. We're going to talk about building community. We're going to be talking about how to take care of yourself physically and mentally while you're studying online. We're going to talk to an academic advisor, some program advisors. We're going to learn how to use the library online. So talking about how to use some of those student services that you would normally go to in person, how they've adapted to online and how you can access them. So please remember to contact us if you have any other questions. And other than that, I look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you very much, Marissa. That was great. Lots of good information, obviously, there. Now I would like to introduce you guys to a new service that we have put in place here that I think most of you should really be taking advantage of, or definitely when it comes to speaking to your international student advisor. You can jump onto our website, tru.ca/meet. You'll be able to meet with our ISAs in there, RISIAs, international academic advisors once you're ready to start planning your courses, international student recruiters from the marketing department, and SOBI program advisors too. So really there's all the people that you need to know right there at tru.ca/meet. So please do take advantage of that. We are here to help you, and we're hoping this will be a service that is well used by all of our incoming students. I would now like to introduce our two panelists for today who are here to answer your questions. We have Siping Feng with us today. He is the Director for International Marketing and Recruitment. We also have Ruben Onyango. He's the Manager for International Student Accommodation and Events and Engagement. So these are two very knowledgeable gentlemen that we have with us, and I would like to invite both of them to just give us some quick remarks, and then we'll start the Q&A session. Siping?
Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, everyone. You're all in different time zones. It's so great to see everybody. We have, I was told we have probably close to 500 students are watching this session. This is a great start. If you're thinking of starting your study journey in Canada and at Thompson Rivers University, you are already started, and it's so great to see you.
Thank you, Siping. Ruben?
Hello, everyone. Like Siping, I'm very excited to be joining you for this town hall. We're doing lots of work in the background to prepare for your, to welcome those of you who will be able to make it here. And even for those who will be, studying from home, we want to get you set so that your semester is stress-free as much as possible anyway. So looking forward to the next hour, looking forward to your questions, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Ruben. And it looks like we're getting quite a few questions here already. And obviously one of the big ones is going to be, will January be delivered face-to-face or virtually? Siping, do you want to jump in on that one?
As Ryan mentioned earlier, January 2021, most of the courses will be delivered virtually. The good news is that for students who applied for winter and received their study permit and has a valid entry visa to get to Canada, you can actually travel to Canada to join the community. However, your learning will still be virtual due to the COVID concern and safety measures and guided by the government.
Right. And so another one here is, so for those who do stay back home and study virtually, will that impact their post-graduation work permit that they are doing that online learning? Ruben?
It's a good question. For right now, the communication from IRCC is that time spent studying outside Canada will count towards the length of your post-grad work permit until the end of April 2021.
Okay, terrific. So we showed them those deadlines earlier. One question here is, if the study permit is not received until December 31st, what needs to be done in that case? So in case they don't get it before end of December, what happens then, Siping?
We are anticipating some of the visa processing delays at some regions due to COVID. So as Ryan mentioned earlier, we recommend students to submit your study permit as soon as possible. So your application will be in queue for processing. And once the visa office opens, your application will be processed early. For students who still don't have their study permit by December 31st, you have two options. One is to defer to the next available intake. And in that case, you can just notify our admission office and they will help you to defer. And there is another option is for you to, if you're confident that you will get your study permit, you can sign a document like a waiver kind of document, say, I am okay to study without a study permit, but there is a little bit of risk on that. In case of your visas refused, then you may not be able to continue study at TRU. We are still monitoring the situation. We're working very closely and with the government, we'll get the most update from IRCC and we'll share with you. And TRU will try our best to adjust our practice to best support our students.
Perfect. Thank you very much. We get a question here around course registration. Can a student register for courses in January? I need guidance from advisor on courses. So thank you for that question, and do attend that virtual learning success workshop. We're going to have some advisors there. And the rule of thumb here is that, yes, you can register for your courses once you have your study permit in hand. Siping, do you have anything to add to that?
Thomas, you mentioned something very important. For the advising team already, the program advisors, the general academic advising team advisors are all ready to plan your courses. What triggers it is that you let us know you had your study permit or AIP ready. Once that is ready, we already send you the email. You need to upload that document to our system. So that's where your course planning will start. Most of the courses, the advisor will go ahead and plan the courses for you. And then the admission team will register you. How do you know your course is registered? You can go onto My TRU and check out your course session. You may be able to see if you are registered for certain courses. And for some of the courses, the advisor will reach out to you because they wanted to guide you to do self-registration and planning. So in that case, just watch your email. The advising team will guide you through that process. If you wanted to change program, say I'm registered for 5 courses and I might want to reduce that or change that. In that case, you need to contact academic advising team to see if you can get support from the academic advising team to change your courses and to switch some of the sessions or add drop courses. That's all possible. You can contact academic advising team for that.
Yes, and just to reiterate, once you're ready, you can jump on tru.ca/meet, and you're able to speak with an international academic advisor there as well. Rupen, I think I got one for you here. Question is, can I join orientation if I still don't have my visa approval?
Absolutely. So we're gonna send a welcome email from the International Student Advising Team early next week, and that email will have information about our orientation dates, amongst other things. So we welcome you to join. Even if you don't have a study permit approval, I think it's useful information, and it just helps you prepare better for when you're eventually able to travel to Kamloops.
Terrific, and yeah, we got the dates up here for the orientation. So please do make a note of that. Another question that we've seen here a couple of times is, can I apply for deferral from January to May? And is it possible to defer twice? So here, I guess you need to keep in mind whether or not your program has an intake, but Siping, is it an issue deferring twice?
Deferring twice, student can allow to defer twice within a year, within the same academic year. If your deferral went beyond one academic year, then in that case, we'll ask student to reapply because the course structures and the intakes, the academic year structure will change. So in that case, you need to reapply. But if your deferral all happen within one academic year, that is between September to August, then you're allowed to do multiple deferral. But if your deferral request go beyond next August, then you need to reapply. For details, you can contact the admission team and they will give you proper advice based on your particular courses and situation. Students ask, can you defer from January to May? That varies. For programs for business and post-bac diplomas, the faculty of business and economics, they don't take any new students in the summer. In that case, not likely you'll be deferred from January to May if you're a BBA students, if you are a post-bac in business students. But hanging there, we are still in communications with the faculty and to see if they can make a little bit of exemptions and rooms for student defer from January to May due to the COVID. But at this moment, by default, School of Business don't take new students in the summer. But we're working on it. We'll keep you posted. If you have the intention to defer, you can contact admissions probably in early January. They will have a clear answer for you. For other programs, science, arts programs, there's no problem to defer from January to May. But like Thomas said, in general, the course availability in summer is less than winter and fall. So there is a small risk there. You might have to be deferred to September if you don't take the January intake. That's all.
Thank you very much, Ziping. We had a little bit of noise on the line there, so let's see if that's gone now. I hope it's gone now. The next question here would be around residence, booking of residence and the quarantine situation. Student is asking, I'm planning to book a residence room for the first semester. How will the quarantine situation be handled? Ruben, I guess you can jump in on that one maybe?
Yes, Thomas. So our quarantine plan is posted on the TRU website, and we updated it last week. And IRCC has made some updates again in the last couple of days, so we're working on further updating again today. Quarantine location is one of the 3 residences on campus, so we're using McGill residence for now. And then if there is overflow, we will use the North Tower residence. So when you arrive in Kamloops, we pick you up from the airport and we drop you off at the McGill residence, and you will be assigned a room where you will be in quarantine for 14 days. And during quarantine, you're not sharing space with any other student. And then once you complete your quarantine, you undergo a medical screening virtually with a doctor on campus, and then you're able to move to either North Tower or to East Village.
Terrific. Thank you, Ruben. Yes, so we have a whole system in place here for everybody who do want to join us on campus. Last week, we sent out an email here, and we got a question around that. I received an email from TRU about submitting a copy of my study permit. I have not gotten my conditional letter yet. What should I do? Sorry, Ziping is still quite a bit of noise. So in that case, if you're an undergraduate student and you have been waiting for your study permit, your conditional letter of acceptance for quite a while, I would suggest that you reach out to International undergraduate admission at iapply.ca. If you are looking at a master level program, that would be igrad@tru.ca. Do keep in mind that it takes a little bit of time to process this. So if it hasn't been 2 to 3 weeks undergrad, 3 to 4 for your master program, you're probably still doing all right. So hang in there. But if you have been waiting for a while, iapply@tru.ca for undergraduate and igrad@tru.ca for your graduate program. So thank you for that question. Another one here, Ruben, you might want to jump in on. VFS are not opened yet in my country. What should a student do about biometrics? Sorry, Ruben, can you unmute? Thank you.
There you go. Yeah, so unfortunately at this time, there's not too much that's, a student can do once they've submitted their application. Majority of visa application centers around the world are still either closed or operating at reduced capacity. So until that changes, you submit your application and then you get into a holding pattern, and we hope that, over the coming months, maybe even weeks, that, there will be more and more of these centers opening. But yeah, for now, all you can do is wait once you've submitted. When the visa application centers reopen, you will get notification to go and submit your biometrics.
Fantastic, thank you. I guess another one here for you. How will accommodation work for arrival in the summer semester? Can we say anything about that yet, or is that still too early?
I think we can talk about it in general terms. We don't know what the quarantine situation will look like. I know the government is trying some new things, with international travelers arriving in, at 2 of the airports currently, Toronto and Calgary. So, without knowing exactly how quarantine is going to work, I can only say that, based on the fact that you will have to quarantine, I don't think anything will change on our side. We'll pick you up from the airport and we'll take you to residence. You'll be in quarantine for 14 days. And then once that happens, you're free to move to whatever other residence you booked. But the COVID pandemic things are changing all the time, how it seems like every week. And we're keeping on top of it. So, as soon as there are changes, we will post to the website, tru.ca/quarantine. So I'd say that's the first place you should look. And then the international student advisors are another good resource. So until we confirm anything with you, I'd say those are the first 2 places you should look.
And another question here is around homestay. What does that look like? Is that an actual possibility for students coming in January?
Yes, I think as of now we have a couple students who have elected to use homestay, and we've identified families that are able to safely accommodate these students. So yes, it is a possibility. We're dealing with homestay cases on an individual basis. So if this is something that interests you, please let your international student advisor know. And if we're able to connect with a family that can safely look after you, then absolutely. We're here to try and make things as comfortable and as easy for you as possible. So yeah.
All right, thank you, Ruben. Another good question here is, if my course is face-to-face, would my application be considered as a priority? And just to reiterate, when we're talking about face-to-face here, we're talking about health program, nursing, we're talking about education programs, we're talking about horticulture, and we're talking about data science. Am I forgetting anybody here, Seping?
I think you covered it well.
And will they be given any kind of priority when it comes to applications?
Ruben?
What kind of applications are we talking about here? Study permits?
Well, it could go both ways, I guess. It could be when they apply to us, will we give them any kind of priority, and also study permit?
So I'll let Ziping talk about the admission portion of it, but as far as study permits, the information I have right now is that TRU has a COVID readiness plan that's been approved by the provincial government, so we're allowed to accept students. And as far as the study permit applications goes, that just means that if you've applied to come to TRU and you apply for a study permit, you get preference over a student who's applying to an institution that is not approved yet to reopen to receive students. And then as far as accommodations and everything, right now we're just the trigger for us is you having a study permit approval. So as soon as that is, as soon as you notify us of that, we will look after your accommodations and everything else that needs to happen to help you get here safely.
Perfect, thank you. And when it comes to application, I am imagining they're getting into queue the same as everybody else and then being processed as quickly as possible when we have that full application package in.
That is correct. But from my understanding, all the face-to-face courses admission process mostly completed. So I am not concerning about those applications. If for a student, for whatever reason, you don't have it and your program is one of the face-to-face program, please go to tru.ca/meet and report to an ISA, and we can help you from there.
Great. Another question here is around the payment deadline. I understand November 1st, 15th is the latest date for paying fees, but it's been more than a month and I'm still waiting for my conditional letter for MBA. How will this impact my application? So again, if you do have questions around your graduate admission applications, igrad@tru.ca is how you get in touch with graduate admission. But Ziping, do we have any flexibility here, or what does that look like?
I want to mention about that. The master's degrees admission process, it is longer because all the applications, the transcripts need to be validated, and also the committee has to review the application and make a decision. So it takes time. For students, say if we already passed November 15th, you received a conditional letter. On that letter, the payment deadline will be adjusted accordingly. However, I do wanted to remind you, if you receive your conditional letter late, please be either be ready to pay your fee right away to get your final letter of acceptance, or be ready to defer, because from what our understanding about visa processing, about arranging travel and quarantines, if you wanted to travel to Canada, just a matter of from now till the end of the year is not enough. So in that case, please review your timelines and maybe consider defer to the next available intake. For MBA, I can confirm the next intake is May 2021.
Thank you very much. Ruben, a couple of questions here around the quarantine and travel. Is it mandatory to stay on campus for the 14 days of quarantine? And how long does it take the ISA team to provide a travel support letter? So kind of two related questions here.
Okay. So the first question about the quarantine. If you're approved for study permit and you're coming to Kamloops, then you must quarantine in residence. We will make special exceptions, say for families who come with, kids, and the residence is not able to accommodate you, then we will help you look for something off campus. But other than that, if you're coming to Kamloops, you should be you should expect that you will live in residence. And the reason for that is we had to go through a very rigorous process to get our COVID readiness plan approved. And as part of that plan, this is what we proposed, and we want not only to make sure that you're safe. It's easy for us to monitor your well-being while you're on campus, but not only that, we want to make sure that we're protecting the community that you're coming into. So yes, unless there are some drastic changes to the way the government will ask us to implement the quarantine plan. This is our quarantine plan for now. So, you might be getting some different information from other places. Every institution is doing things differently. But yes, at TRU, if you're a new student and you're coming to study at TRU, then we'll expect that you will live in residence just for the first semester. And then the second part of the question, can't remember what it was.
Yes. How long does it take the ISA team to provide the travel support letter?
Okay, perfect. So at this point in time, it's the turnaround is, I'd say, no more than 48 hours. The marketing team sent a survey for all students to complete. So I go in and I look at that survey and I filter to pick out students who have approved study permits, who have indicated they're willing to travel to Kamloops. I send a link to another survey just to collect, information about travel, arrival dates, food, dietary restrictions, that kind of thing. And then once we have that sorted out, an international student advisor will get in touch with you to confirm everything. And then usually within 48 hours max, we have the letter to you by email.
Terrific. Thank you very much. Here's a question for a student who has a approval in principle. If we register for January intake and study permit gets rejected after AIP, will the first semester fees be returned? Siping, do you want to jump in on that one?
Based on our current refund policy, if you don't have a study permit and you taken courses, technically you can complete the courses, but since you already studied the courses, you get the credit from TRU. Those fees are not refundable. We do understand that students are facing lots of stresses in this, and sometimes in certain countries the visa center is not open, so some student may risk to take the chance to study. I'm working with my colleague to see what kind of support it can come up with for those kind of students. That means, do we encourage you to study without a study permit, or what kind of risk we can mitigate for you when study without a study permit? I want you to focus right now. I will let you know we're considering that. We're trying to find the best way to support you, but I want you to focus on get your application ready and submit your study permit at this moment. Later, I would say in December, we will let you know what we think in those situations. That is, visa centers closed, student ready to study, what should they do? Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Ruben, one for you here. Can international student advisors help with the study visa process? Sorry.
So typically we don't involve ourselves with the visa application process outside of Canada because it's a little bit different. And even though we have general knowledge, I think working with either an agent or marketing services representatives to identify somebody who can help you on that side is better, just because they have a better knowledge of the market. But if you're just looking for general information about the process, you have a question about there's a question on the form that you don't know how to answer. The forms are fairly similar, so in that regard, we're happy to help you. So just connect with the International Student Advisor. The link is right there, tru.ca/meet. We're happy to have a live video chat with you and kind of walk you through the process as best as we can. Thank you.
Thank you. And do we also have an email that they could potentially be reaching out on?
That is correct. So for immigration-related inquiries, you can send an email to Rizia, RISIA, @tru.ca.
Thank you. Terrific. One question here is about the virtual learning workshop. Student is asking, can I attend the virtual learning workshop even though I do not have a study permit yet? I don't know who would, oh, we have Marissa jumping in here. Thank you.
I can answer that. The answer is yes, you can. As long as you are an accepted student, you can attend the workshop.
Short and sweet, thank you. Another question here around campus accommodation. When is the last date to book on campus accommodation? And what if we're unable to join on that date because the visa is delayed? Do I get charged?
So there is no specific deadline. At this, because of the COVID pandemic, we're trying to be as flexible as possible. So, I think you have two options. You can, if you want to submit an application, then you will go with the deadlines that are posted on the website. Otherwise, my advice for now would be, wait until you know that you have a study permit approval. We can get you accommodation sorted out fairly quickly. However, if you are needing to pay for your accommodation so that you can possibly get a letter to include with your visa application, then that's totally different. Get in touch with us and we'll be happy to support you. And, we're happy to communicate with the residents so that, a lot of the deadlines that are posted on the website don't necessarily apply to you. But the key is we have to communicate. So if you submit an application, keeping in line that there are posted deadlines, you just have to let us know what's happening so that we can share that information with the residents. We've now gone through, summer semester, fall semester process, and I think it's worked very well. I don't think we've had any cases where a student was charged a cancellation fee if they did their due diligence. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Ruben. We're getting a question here around how to drop courses. How can I drop courses if I am already registered? Siping?
If you're already registered, there is a window in the first 2 weeks of the next semester. You can decide whether you want to stay or drop that particular course without any penalty. So I do wanted to remind you that your courses are selected for a reason and either fulfill your core education needs to advance yourself or as a necessary credit towards to your credential. So before you decide to drop a course, I would suggest you consult one of the program advisor or academic advisor to learn the consequences of dropping that course. Drop, add, change courses are all very common among university students and in the Canadian university education system. But please talk to your academic advisor before you make the decision to avoid any unnecessary consequences of that dropping. Again, in the first 2 weeks of your study, you can drop, add courses without any penalty or without any record showing on your transcript. I do wanted to add additional comments to my earlier comments on students, studying and not getting study permit and about refund issue. So I want to confirm that if you already received your AIP, please go ahead and register for winter courses. If you AIP is study permit approval in principle, also called stage 1 approval. If you get that one, if by any chance your stage 2 visa, your final study permit is rejected, TRU will refund the tuition you've paid. So again, for students who has AIP already, please go ahead and register for winter. And if your final study permit is rejected, TRU will refund your tuition. So I want to be clear on that. It is right now, we are in the middle of discussing for students who don't have an AIP and don't have a study permit either, and their visa processing center is closed. I believe some of the new students are facing that situation. Is for that group we're discussing and we're trying to find ways to help you. But stay tuned if you are in that category, and we'll let you know in December what's our best suggestion. But meanwhile, again, send your application in and get your study permit application in queue for processing. Thank you.
Terrific. Thanks, Ping. Ruben, another one here. By when do we need to travel to Canada after doing the first semester virtually from home? Are we able to tell yet what we're aiming for here?
I'm not sure I understood that question very well. So is this?
So question is, by when do we need to travel to Canada after doing the first semester virtually from home? Are we thinking that joining us over summer or September, or is it really too early to tell?
Oh, okay. I mean, if a student started their studies virtually in their home country, if you have study permit approval, then I'd say you're welcome to join us at any time. Just keep in mind that you need to complete at least 50% of your program in Canada in order to be eligible for post-graduation work permit. There have been exceptions made during the pandemic for students in a program that is, say, 8 to 12 months. Those students have been are able to complete their whole program online and be eligible for the post-grad work permit. But if you are in a 2-year or 4-year program, I'd say make plans to join us before you get to the 50% threshold. And that 50% is calculated based on the number of courses in your program.
Perfect. Another follow-up on an earlier question here. Can I validate my statement of purpose from the international student advisor, or a RISIA, I guess, would be more relevant person?
Absolutely. I know in the past we have had students who have, they've written a document and they just want somebody to have a look over it. So, we're happy to help. Like I said, the processes are different, applying inside and outside of Canada, but the general knowledge is the same. So we're happy to help you as much as we can. So absolutely, get in touch with us, and we'll be glad to guide you.
Great, thank you very much. We get another question from Marissa here. So if we could get Marissa to join us for a quick question. Why should I participate in the virtual learning workshop, and which session should I opt for?
Good question.
So we can see Marissa is joining us here. So we'll just hang on for a quick second. So maybe we can pull up one of these slides for the virtual learning virtual learning success workshop. Hi, Marissa.
Hi. So the purpose of the virtual learning workshop is to show you what an online course looks like at TRU. So they can look very different than a face-to-face course. We use a special learning management system called Moodle. And if you've never used Moodle before, it can be a little confusing at first. So what we are doing in this workshop is showing you how to use this system. So rather than having to learn how to use it on your own, we're going to walk you through how to do that. And while we do that, we're going to have guest speakers who are going to show you how to use TRU services that you would normally use in person, how you can use them online. So it's a pre-orientation almost. This is showing you what it's like to be an online learner. It's a really fun, interesting, and interactive way for you to learn how to do this. Which option do you want to choose? You can choose either. Both sessions are exactly the same. We cover the same information. I would choose whichever one works best for your schedule or works best for your time zone. You don't have to worry. We're covering the same information no matter what session you choose.
If I can add, I see this is such critical learning preparation for all students, because you will be studying your first university semester virtually. And we want you to be very successful. And that's why we prepared those virtual learning workshops to get you ready. It's like a nice warm-up exercise before the race. So please, your journey already started. Follow our guidance and follow our instructions. And if you go through that and take it seriously, do your part, then you'll be successful. And that's what we wanted. We want you to be successful. We cannot change the reality. It's virtual learning, it's COVID, but we still wanted you to achieve the best possibility to be successful. So please join those virtual learning workshop, and you will learn a lot, and you'll be seeing all kinds of resources, skills, techniques for you to be successful. So please join the virtual learning success workshop.
And it's free. You don't have to pay anything.
Free is always good. Okay. Ruben, I thank you very much for joining us again, Marissa. Ruben, I got a couple of questions here regarding the residents and quarantine. So I'm just going to try and condense 3 of these questions here, just for the sake of time. 1 second, let me just find it here. Is it compulsory to stay at TRU residence for the whole semester? So here I'm thinking after quarantine is completed, do they need to stay for the whole semester? What should I do about food and medicine during the quarantine? And what is the cost for quarantine stay at McGill residence or other TRU residences? So really 3 questions here. I hope you were able to get all of them. Sorry.
So the first question was whether it's mandatory to stay in residence. Yes, if you're a new student coming to TRU, you will quarantine in residence, and it's required that you will stay on for the winter semester. After the winter semester, you're free to do whatever you want. The second part of that question was how food.
Food and medicine.
So we're going to provide you food for the first couple days, and then after that, if you elect that you want to continue with the food service, we're happy to do that, and that will be billed to your account. You're also able to order food on your own, either from a grocery store or from a restaurant. We know that there are, we had a student who tried ordering food, and they were not able to because the credit card they're using has a billing address outside of Canada. So we're trying to find a solution for that. And, right now, one of the solutions that we're considering is, we buy gift cards, Visa gift cards, and then, if you wanted to, use one of those for either your groceries or your food, we would give you one, and then we would charge the corresponding amount to your TRU account. So we're trying to find something that works for everybody. As far as medicine, if you read our quarantine plan, we're asking that if you are on any medication, please bring a supply enough to last you 2 weeks through the quarantine, because you're not going to be able to leave your room once you get in. And then once quarantine is over, we'll help you to connect to the doctor, and if you need a prescription refill, you'll need to see a doctor in Kamloops. They will assess your medical records. They will likely want to examine you, and then they will set up recurring prescription refills for you. So to start off with, bring a supply to last you 2 weeks.
And then the last part of that was, what is the cost for the quarantine stay at McGill residence and other TRU residences?
So we're not charging you for the quarantine period. There is no charge. First 14 days is it's complimentary. TRU World. You will start paying once your quarantine is finished. So the way it's going to work is that you will do your 14-day quarantine, and then once you finish your quarantine, until December 29th. It's a $20 charge every day, and then after December 30th, your residence fees for the winter semester will kick in.
Just a question to tag on the end there. Can I book an Airbnb as my quarantine place?
No. If you're coming to Kamloops again, the only options are residence. So you'll have to stay in residence unless we've made arrangements for you to live in homestay, or your family, if you're a large family and cannot be accommodated at the residences, then we will, in those instances, we'll get special authorization to allow you to find something off campus.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I think that's nice and clear now for everybody. Siping, we're currently allowing a Duolingo score, and I got a question around that here. Will Duolingo score be allowed for applying for the undergraduate program in the fall of 2021?
The answer is yes. Duolingo score was originally introduced at the beginning of COVID to allow students to safely doing their language test at home when other testing centers are closed or it's not safe to travel. The Faculty of Modern Language and ESL department at TRU, they already approved to extend the period for TRU to accept Duolingo right now until at least next fall. So the answer is for students who are applying for fall 2021, yes, Duolingo will be accepted for undergraduate program. We do, however, recommend we found there are some discrepancies of Duolingo test. So it's still best for us to recommend you to take a TOEFL or IELTS when those testing services are available in your community. Please book a test for IELTS or TOEFL over Duolingo. We do understand for certain areas, if you cannot do the IELTS or TOEFL, a Duolingo score will be accepted for undergraduate program. For masters, for MBAs, for MEMS, for Master of Nursing, you must provide a IELTS or TOEFL score for admission purpose.
Terrific. We have a question for a student here who must have a conditional letter of acceptance. I would like to defer to fall 2021. Do I pay tuition deposit before my deferral is accepted? So can a student with a conditional letter defer to fall semester, and do they need to pay before that deferral is accepted? Siping?
You can defer first, and after you get your new conditional letter, then you pay your tuition fee. The answer is yes. Going back to the Duolingo test and the language test, I want to remind students, if you're planning to start in January 2021, it's very, very important. Again, it's very, very important for you to have a valid English testing score in our system. If you already submitted, great. Your course planning will happen once you confirm your study permit. Lots of the students in last fall, we found that they confirmed their visa and they think they will be registered, but the advising team had a difficult time to locate their language test score because they never taken it. So it's important for you to get ready for your winter. So if you have not submitted as a valid testing score, go take Duolingo, go take IELTS, go take TOEFL, so we can plan you properly. If you are sending us a late score, that will affect yourself because the courses you want to register may be full already if you submit your score late, or the sessions you want to be no longer be available. So please get your English test ready now as soon as possible so that won't delay your course planning for winter.
Thank you very much, Siping. Ruben, we have another couple of questions here around the quarantine and travel. If my visa gets approved in the last week of December, will I be allowed to travel to Kamloops? So one around timing here. Is there a possibility of self-quarantine or live off campus after the mandatory quarantine on campus. And sorry, I'm doing it to you again here, but I'm just going to tack on a third one here just for time. Is it mandatory to get campus accommodation initially, or can I book off-campus housing from the beginning?
Okay.
So,
I'll start with a question about the quarantine.
The travel. Okay.
So quarantine it's mandatory. I know there are students who are, wanting to come to Kamloops and they want to book Airbnb, they want to book, their own accommodations. Safety is our first priority in welcoming you to Kamloops. We need to protect you. We need to protect the community. And it's just easier for us to keep an eye on you if you're close to us, right? At the residence, we have, 24-hour staffing. We have security all the time. So, if anything needs to be attended to urgently, then it's right away. If you're off campus, imagine in the middle of the night, something goes awry and, just trying to coordinate all those pieces to look after you will be a little bit challenging. So our quarantine plan is very clear. If you're a new student and you come into Kamloops, the only option is to live in residence for the quarantine and for the remainder of the winter semester. And then to answer the question about travel, we have 2 arrival windows for the winter semester. One is November 24th to December 9th. And I know we've got some emails from students asking why is that window the way it is. We would like for students to arrive and be done quarantine before the Christmas break. You're required to undergo a medical screening after. And, if you're finishing your quarantine during the holidays or you're finishing your quarantine during the weekend, we want to avoid cases where you're staying in your room longer than you need to before you're able to get out of quarantine. And during the holidays, in Canada, it's reduced services. On Christmas Day, nothing basically is open. So we want to make sure that the first set of students is done quarantine before Christmas. And then we will have another arrival window, January 1st to the 15th. And the intention of that is that all students are finished quarantine by the end of January. We need to really keep in mind that even though the government has, IRCC is saying, let's welcome students back, if you're arriving too early, there can be a problem, and if you're arriving too late into the winter semester, there can be a problem, right? You need to satisfy a Canada Border Service agent that you're arriving and you're going to be able to finish your quarantine in time for the new semester. And if you're quarantining, say, in January, if you have face-to-face classes and you arrive in January, you have to convince a Border Service agent that your quarantine will not impact your ability to attend classes, right? So keep all these things in mind. Please get in touch with an international student advisor before you book any flights to Canada. Thank you.
Thanks, Ruben. And just to reiterate for everybody here, there's 2 ways of getting in touch with your international student advisor. It's either isa@tru.ca or jump onto the TRU website and meet with one in person. So that would be tru.ca/meet. Marissa, would you be able to join us again? We have a couple of questions here regarding the virtual learning success workshop that I'm hoping you can help out with. First one here is, where and how do I get an invitation for the virtual learning workshop?
Okay, so we have in all of the instructions on how to log into the workshop will be emailed to you winter semester. So you don't have to contact us to request the information. We're going to send it to all of you on November 16th. So keep checking your emails on November 16th for that information. If you do not receive it by November 18th, then you can contact us and ask to send it. Maybe we missed you on our list for some reason, but please contact us no earlier than November 18th for that information.
Perfect, thank you. Another question here is, I have attended the fall virtual learning workshops. Should I attend this new workshop too? So a student deferred from fall, now they're coming in January, should they attend again? Marissa?
That is not mandatory. You don't have to attend if you've already attended once. We did add a couple of sessions to this one from the fall intake, so you are welcome to join and attend our newer sessions, or you can, if you just want a refresher, come in, check the Moodle course out, see what's in there, and use it as much as you like. But it's not mandatory.
Terrific.
Already.
Terrific. Is it mandatory? Sorry, another question here would be, I'm traveling from my home country to Canada. Can I attend classes virtually outside of Kamloops? Can this be done from anywhere? Marissa?
Go ahead. I was going to say.
Virtual learning?
Sorry,
Yeah,
I'm classes here. Classes, yeah. Go ahead.
Done.
So both the virtual learning workshop can be done from abroad as well as classes as well. I think I have one last one for you here. This would be for Ruben. If I attend TRU during the virtual learning period, will it count towards my post-graduation work permit? So I don't know if you can just reiterate that for us. Thank you, Marissa.
Yeah, since the summer of 2020, I guess, summer of this year, IRCC made some changes to their post-graduation work permit eligibility criteria, such that students are able to start their programs virtually from their home countries or outside Canada, and it will count towards their post-grad work permit until April of 2021. However, you need to keep in mind that the requirement to complete 50% of your program still applies. Some exceptions have been made for students in a program that is 8 to 12 months. But other than that, if you're in a 2 or 4 year program, you need to make sure that 50% of your program is completed in Canada. And the 50% is based on the number of courses in your program. So if I have, 33 courses in my program, I have to complete at least 17 here. If I'm in a program with 20 courses, I have to complete at least 10 in Canada.
Perfect. So Ping, regarding students who really don't hear from the visa office before the start of the semester, what are their options? I know there's a waiver that could potentially be in play here for students who might be starting their course in January but haven't heard about their visa.
Thank you for that question. As I mentioned before, there are two options. One, a student could choose inform our admission team to defer to the next available intake, or student could choose to sign a waiver to go ahead and study without a study permit. In December, most likely in our next town hall, we'll let you know the details of the risk that if you decide to go ahead and study without a study permit. I am working with our student advisors, with our executives, to see what support we can give to those students who don't receive a visa by December. But we need a little bit of time. We'll let you know in our next town hall.
Sorry, one more here for you, Ruben. For students, will they have to apply for Guardian insurance, or will it be applied by default by TRU? So is there a process of getting into Guardian insurance here?
The simple process is that students need to notify us that they're intending to travel to Canada through the various surveys we're sending, or through your communications with an international student advisor. As we prepare for you to come for quarantine, we make arrangements for your Guardian insurance as well. So if we know well in advance that you're coming, we will start your coverage on the day you're leaving your country. Otherwise, if I know we always get students who just show up, we will get your Guardian to start when you arrive. So it's an automatic process as long as we know that you're coming in advance.
Terrific. Thank you very much. we just have a couple of questions here, then we're going to start wrapping it up. Can I stay with my relatives in Canada after the required quarantine period? Ruben?
No. So is this a student who is saying they want to come to Kamloops for quarantine and then leave? I would say no. If you're coming to Kamloops, the only, I'd say that the only exceptions we may make, only exceptions, if you have family in Kamloops and, we can verify that, the quarantine location is one that's acceptable and that is safe, not only for yourself, but for the people you're going to live with. Or, we've had 1 or 2 cases where, a student is coming to Kamloops and they have a sibling. Those are the only real exceptions we are making. Other than that, if you're coming to Kamloops, you should plan to quarantine in residence. However, we also know that there are students who are coming to Canada and they might have family, say in Vancouver. So again, on exceptional case-by-case basis, your first step is to notify us that you're coming through the survey, because we collect all this information in the survey about where you're coming to, whether you're coming to Kamloops or whether you're going, say, to Vancouver or somewhere else in Canada. And then an international student advisor will get in touch with you just to get additional details about your quarantine. If we're happy with the plan that you have proposed, then yes, it will be approved. But yes, if you're planning to come to Kamloops, you should just plan to come to live in residence for the winter semester. It doesn't really make too much sense to come all the way to Kamloops, quarantine for 14 days, and then travel elsewhere. So we'd like to help you minimize the costs if we can. So contact us as you're going through the planning process.
Quick follow-up question on that one. Can a quarantining student, can they have friends or family bring them food and other stuff?
So during the quarantine, you're not allowed to have any guests. And even though I think sometimes students underestimate how serious the quarantine is, during the 14 days that you're in quarantine, up until now, we've been doing the daily check-ins with students. But as of November 21st, you will be required to do the daily reporting directly with the government, either by phone or using the ArriveCan app. And, if you're requiring groceries, so the other day I bought groceries for a student, and I cannot take those groceries directly to the student's room. So I drop them off at the residence, and then a resident staff will go to the student's room, put them outside, knock on the door, and then just walk away. But you can't just get your friends or your relatives to come to your room. The residence and the quarantine locations, especially, monitored by security basically 24 hours a day. So as soon as we see you leaving your room, or as soon as we see anybody approaching your room, you interacting with other students, we will contact you right away. And it's the penalties for breaking quarantine are pretty steep. So yeah, no, we don't want your relatives or your friends dropping off any food to your room. If you want food deliveries, get in touch with us. We'll make arrangements for you to drop it off to the residents, and then the residents will get it to you in a safe manner. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruben, for that. So now I would like to ask both of you to just do a couple of closing remarks and maybe let the audience know what a couple of action items that you would like them to follow up on. First, I would like to say thank you for all of the questions that we have received. It's been great. Seping, do you want to kind of give a little ending remark here first?
Thanks, Thomas. Again, it was so great to talk to you, and it's so important for you to join a town hall like this so you can have your questions directly asked and being addressed. And I do appreciate, I think I always call students, the new student who's being called into the COVID situation, you are our heroes. and in the sense that you started your journey studying in Canada in the most unconventional way. But I think we're in this together, and we started this journey together with you. And your journey, it's not starting in January, it's starting now. And I do appreciate your taking actions to participate in this. While we're seeing lots of challenging news these days, I also wanted to mention that Canada, I think just a week ago, that Canadian government just announced in the next 3 years, Canada will open an enhanced immigration plan. Altogether, 1.2 million new immigrants will be joining the Canadian nation. And that is a great news for our students. And we wanted you be part of it as well. 3 years, and when you graduate, it will be more opportunities for you. But we want our graduates graduated with the skills, with the knowledge, with the experience, with the confidence to be successful. So this journey starts now, and all you have done will contribute to your final success. So Thomas asked, what are the next steps for you to do? Very simple. If you have not submitted your language test score, write a language test and submit your score. If you have not paid your tuition, pay it on time. If you have not submitted your study permit application, submit it now. And if you have done all of those, that's great. Upload your study permit and join a virtual learning success session and be part of the community and be successful. So it's great to talk to you again, and please stay safe and stay connected with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Seping. Ruben, do you have a final remark?
Sure. It's been a pleasure again joining you all this morning, evening, or afternoon, wherever you're joining us from in the world. It's 2020 has been a very interesting year, and despite all the challenges that COVID has thrown our way, I think we're doing the best that we can to manage and to make sure that the experience you're getting is just the same as it would have been if things were working perfectly. We thank you for being flexible with us. It seems that we send you one email one week and then the next week we're saying, oh, there's another change. But immigration folks, they're adapting to change as well. And, we hope that in the near future, we'll get back to a place where, we're happy to welcome you on campus. But in the meantime, embrace the changes that are happening. One day, you'll have some good stories to tell to your grandkids. Action items for now. If you have study permit approval, we need to know. We don't want you arriving in Kamloops or in Canada without us knowing about it. We need to plan in advance. We need to make sure your rooms are ready. We need to plan for your transportation and all that. So complete the survey that was sent out by the marketing team, and then based on that, we will send you our survey. I'll also encourage you all to just quickly have a look at the quarantine plan. We had a lot of questions about the quarantine plan. It's posted on the TRU website, tru.ca/quarantine, and there will be additional updates to the plan today. And then if you have any questions, there'll be a link at the bottom for you to connect with a member of our team. So thanks for joining us. Have yourselves a great weekend, and look forward to the next town hall. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruben, and thank you, Seping, for joining us. Thank you, Marissa, for being with us as well. Do you have a last remark, Marissa, before we wrap up?
A note, just that I'm excited to see all of you in a couple of weeks for the Virtual Learning Success Workshop. And any questions in the meantime, just wait until November 16th, and hopefully lots of them will be answered.
Terrific. Thank you very much. Well, then I would like to say thank you to everybody who tuned in today. Please keep an eye on your email. There will be more communication going out, and there will be another town hall in the near future here. So thank you very much to everybody who joined, and see you in the near future.
Bye.
With the mindset that this is going to be a successful journey.
Never feel that pressure on the first day that you have to know what you want to do right then and there, because you'll change your mind all the time.
Go to class. That's always a good thing.
TRU actually offers a platform for everybody to showcase whatever they know.
Be yourself.
University is a place where you can become yourself, break out of your shell.
Actually, my biggest advice is to talk to your teachers.
Don't be afraid of us faculty. Come and see us.
Oh, don't be afraid to talk to people. Just talk to anyone, because there's everyone in the same position as you are.
Try to get everything you can from that student experience you have, because it's just 4 years of your life.
It is not just going to be learning in class, it's going to be learning about who you are.
Use this place and get everything you can from it.